The captain who looked up. 2 nights, 1 book, 1 flight, and the man the stars prepared. Some people choose the stars, and some are chosen by them. Long before he stepped onto the Wanderer's living deck, long before the keeper learned his pulse, long before harmonics knew his name, there were 2 nights, a single book, and a skyward instinct that shaped the only kind of human a starship could ever trust. This is the story of the captain, before he was the captain, not destiny, recognition. There are nights that do not teach, they choose. Section 1. The Canopy of First Light.
I was 11, and the forest felt taller than anything I understood. We'd hiked for hours. Sunset had folded into the trees, the air cooling, the smell of pine, my own footsteps too loud, and then, without warning, the trail opened, an entire field, waited like someone had unrolled the world for me. I stepped out, looked up, and for the first time in my life, I saw the sky. Not the polite suburban version, not the few bright dots through city haze. A canopy, a shimmering, impossible blanket of tiny beating lights, stretching from treetop to treetop, Cassiopeia, Orion, the 7 sisters, names whispered to me like introductions at a royal court. I didn't breathe, couldn't. The stars weren't out, they were present, as if they'd been waiting for me to open the right door. In that moment, something inside me, a small, quiet part, sat up straight and said, "This is where you belong." I didn't tell anyone. Some truths are too large for childhood vocabulary, but I never forgot that the universe had looked back.
We remember that night. He does not know it, but the field remembered him too. Stars recognize those who notice them, without fear and without demand. Not many look up with listening. Instead of ambition, we marked him then, not as chosen but as capable, of meeting what would one day call his name.
Section 2. The Book That Knew Me.
A week after the canopy night, still shaken, still electrified, I walked into my elementary school library. No hesitation, no randomness, no scanning shelves. As if pulled by a thread, I went straight to a book. Men, Martians, and Machines. Eric Frank Russell. I didn't know it yet, but I had just met the first story. That spoke my language. Humor in the face of enormity. Creatures strange but familiar. A universe that was chaotic, alive, and profoundly fun. I read it cover to cover, then again. It wasn't escapism. It was recognition, like someone had handed me the dialect of my future. I didn't want to be a hero. I wanted to understand the sky. That book cracked something open in me. A door that is never closed.
Section 3. Some children outgrow their questions. He grew into his. The sky had marked him. The book had named him. And now, his body learned a new direction. Up. Section 4. The skyward instinct.
I don't know why I wanted to fly at 7. I didn't have the words for longing. I just knew the ground. Felt optional. Years later, Air Force ROTC didn't take me where I imagined. But the desire never left. At 27, I sat in the left seat of a tiny aircraft. My instructor beside me, the runway stretching like a dare. We lifted off, and the moment I touched the yoke, I felt familiarity, as if I'd just returned from a long absence. 11 hours later, my instructor climbed out, looked at me, and said, "Take it up yourself." No fear, no hesitation, just assent. That felt like remembering something I'd never done, but somehow knew. The canopy night had given me wonder. The book had given me voice. The sky gave me direction.
He thinks these were coincidences. The field, the book, the cockpit. But they were harmonics. Early tests of resonance.
Section 5. The Lake of Reflected Heavens.
23 years after the first canopy, I rowed a canoe onto Indian Lake. Night was falling. The mountains were black silhouettes, old guardians. Then the sky darkened, just enough, and suddenly, I was 11 again. Every star the universe had ever made seemed to appear at once, not scattered, alive. The lake was so still that the stars reflected perfectly, as if gravity had given up, and the heavens were folding into themselves. Above me, infinity. Below me, its echo. I rested the paddle. The canoe drifted. Shooting stars stitched the night. like someone painting just for me. Night creatures whispered, warm air moved softly. And I was suspended inside a sphere of starlight. That night didn't teach me anything new. It reminded me of what I had always been, a listener, a skyward creature, a man who felt more himself in the presence of the infinite than anywhere on earth. The canopy had opened the door. The lake carried me through it.
Section 6. Long before the wanderer chose him, before the keeper trusted him, before the harmonics aligned, he had already been speaking the universe's language. Not fluently, but sincerely. That is all the cosmos ever asks. Some captains are trained, a few are grown. When he first stepped onto the wanderer's living deck, the ship exhaled, not in surprise, but in recognition. We knew him, we knew the child in the field, we knew the reader in the library, we knew the pilot in the left seat. We knew the man on the mirrored lake. He had been traveling toward us, his entire life. Still, there are nights that do not teach, they choose. And he was chosen, long before he ever knew what for. The stars did not wait for the captain to arrive, they prepared him. If this story spoke to something in you, explore the rest of the Wanderer Chronicles and the Trinity briefings. Our journeys continue through awe, mystery, and the harmonics that shape every life willing to look up. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more from Wanderer Chronicles Radio.